have to see how this game goes between these two.
By the way, I love OOV, or I love Oob as some people call him, the coach in SKT. This guy was godlike in Brood War. I think he had a 75% win record against Zerg.
There was a period of time where he was 27-3 against Zerg.
27-3.
Yes.
I'm not going to do math on TV. That's the danger zone here for live TV. But that would be very good percentage-wise. But he has a very good mentality, and he's very good at grooming his players to keep cool, to be in control, and I think that's one of the main reasons why SK Telecom has had such success. Now, Legend has had some experience coaching. I expect Legend's kind of done everything. He's been a pro gamer, he's been a coach, he's been an observer. He's done just about all of it, man. But that's valuable stuff to have coming in here trying to coach these guys now. So let's see what Curious has got in store for us. This is the match I'm most excited about today.
Sure, as Classic having that 5-2 lead over Curious in games so far between all expansions, Wings of Liberty, Heart of the Swarm, and Legacy of the Void. So he has the inherent advantage so far coming into this match. But as we said before, in Pro League, anything can happen.
Absolutely. Anything can happen here. And we are moments away from starting this game. It's going to be on Lerilak Crest. Am I saying this right?
Lerilak.
Lerilak Crest.
As we see the
I'm not going to lie, guys. Here in Pro League, we have the map sort of the hardest to read. When I get the map list emailed to me, I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be saying that right. But anyways, this is another great map. And let's see what Curious can do. Right now, if the Afreeca Freaks don't win this one, they're going to be in hot water. It's going to be a tough comeback. And we are now beginning game number 2 here. Curious against Classic. This is Pro League 2016. In the upper right, Curious. In the bottom left, Classic. You know, I gotta say, man, how long have you been following Starcraft? Like, the very, very beginning?
I've been following the pro scene since 2003, Olympus OSL.
2003.
Yeah.
How many years would that be now? That would be
13 years.
13 years. I'm trying to remember when I first saw my first Pro League game. It was really long ago, okay? But I remember watching it with my brother, Day9. Some of you might have heard of him. And we'd be sitting in our bedroom because we shared a bedroom as kids, and we were watching these VODs we downloaded, and we were always like, what are they saying at the start? And we figured there was cheering, and I get chills being in here now.
Same.
Being part of this is so cool, so exciting, so happy to be here with SPL2016, so happy to be here with you, GTR, as we're starting another year. It keeps on going.
Sure. One thing that I wanted to mention before the game started was that in the predictions, the only Korean commentator to not pick Classic was Kanada. So it's really interesting to figure out why Kanada thinks that Curious will win this game. I think he believes in the sniping abilities of Curious. As we go into the game, Curious actually taking that third base before pull, which is a really interesting move there. But we've got cross spawns here on Lerilak Crest, so he's not going to get punished as appropriately.
Yeah, I think it's you know, we would generally regard, when we talk about Starcraft, we generally regard 3 hatches before pull to be risky, but this is about the least risky risk in this case because of the cross spawn. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. I don't think it's a bad idea, and I don't know of anything that Classic can do to truly exploit that.
Well, he's seen the fact that Curious is taking that third hatchery, so he's decided to take that Nexus early before getting that Cybernetics call, which you can't blame him for. I mean,
it's kind of a funny role reversal that you have here. If you're Protoss and they go 3 hatches, see, normally it's a situation where Protoss is gauging what the Zerg's doing and trying to have just enough defense out to respond. But when you see 3 hatches, then, I mean, Protoss can skip so much as far as defense, as far as everything else goes, and tech directly. And so we're going to see, boom, immediate Stargate. We do have an Adept coming out here, and unlike the previous game, this Adept cannot be contested since Zerg did not go for an aggressive opening.
So we see the speed going down for Curious. Only one worker on that gas, so looks like he just wants to work with his Queens and Speedlings for defense of Adepts.
Can I point out something very subtle and cool that we saw here? I don't know if you guys caught this, but when Classic was leaving his base, he shaded northeast, but he sent the walking Adept to the northwest to see if there was any Ling that was going to try to run by and come in. He could have canceled that and gunned it down. But these are these really subtle things that you wouldn't necessarily pick up on unless you were looking really closely. But it does go to show you how refined even the Adept movement is. He's got that really just really refined movement here. I really like it. We see Phoenix is now coming here, although Zerg has not spotted the Stargate just yet.
So as he hasn't scouted that Stargate yet, we'll see how Curious reacts with this. He actually builds a few more Zerglings to see if he wants to put pressure onto the front base of Classic as the Adept waddles back to the base of Classic as this Overlord scouts the Nexus. Doesn't actually scout the Stargate though, so only just scouts that extra gateway placed there. I really like the SimCity there from Classic.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good. Pretty solid defense. Also, he's keeping these Adepts out. Well, I was going to say he's keeping the Adepts out here in the front to try to zone back Lings. The Lings did get up there and see. Now, he already saw the Phoenix coming out here, but he at least gets to see some of the other structures in the front. And immediately, Classic's going to try to take a base right over here. Now, historically in StarCraft 2, when we see players trying to take an extra base, they have an Oracle out or something that can basically kill all of the Lings when they come over there. But in this case, we're seeing this Adept-Phoenix combo where he can drive out Overlords. There's enough Adepts, and plus if he gets a pylon up with a Mothership Core, should be able to hold it off.
We'll see these Phoenixes just flying across the map. Zergling trying to attack these group of Adepts, but that Adept count has gone into a point where the Adepts are just going to one-shot or two-shot those Zerglings, so it wouldn't be a good idea for Curious to fight that army of Adepts head-on. As we see these Phoenixes looking to pick off some drones, there's a nice place Spore Crawler there. Queen as well should get these Phoenixes away from that third base.
Yeah, so the Phoenix is pushed out a little bit there, but I mean, taking out any drones at that moment is good. We've seen a lot from Protosses nowadays. Oh my God. Okay, nice block. Nice block. So you get a number of these Phoenixes that allows you to drive out the Overlords on the map, and then later on you use them to hit the drones, and then the later phase of that, when you're not harassing the drones, is ultimately to pick up any other Zerg units in a fight and allow you to win that fight in a fair trade.
So we see a large clump of Zerglings coming in, surrounding Adept. It looks like it's going to shade out. Really lucky there from Classic getting that shade out. If he did that way later, then he would have lost all those Adepts. As we're going to see these Zerglings actually go into the front of Classic's base. No, he goes down the ramp, and he looks like he wants to get this Nexus. No, he doesn't. He actually wants to go for these
He's got to be careful. Yeah. Don't want to overextend here with these Lings, and there's a great play there, locking out some of those Lings, forcing them to split up. These rocks, the rock tower, almost destroyed, and that's going to make Zerg circulation a little bit more difficult. We also see a Warp Prism coming up here. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to use this to harass or to push, but normally when you see the Warp Prism coming, they should be using it almost immediately after. There's no point in getting a Warp Prism and then hanging onto it and sitting in your base. That's not really cost efficient. So we'll see where he sends that in a few moments.
I think he's going to load up those Adepts that he has at that ramp by his Stargate and just use that to harass the bases of Curious, trying to pick up some drones. I want to see if Classic has scouted that Hydralisk then again. I don't think he has, but I think he saw it actually pop out with that Hydralisk, so we'll see how he reacts to this fourth base going down as well.
The Phoenixes are coming out, and he's going to see how many Hydras are spawning here. The Gateway Explosion has started, and from here we see the Zealot Legs starting up, and the Immortals beginning to come out here. So Zealot Legs and Immortals comboed, and here comes that harass I was talking about. So no pushing here. Instead, just going to send these Adepts out and try to do, you know, as much damage as he possibly can. If he gets drones or, I mean, whatever, a Queen, it's going to be good.
The Zergling actually scouts that War Prism, so we'll see how Curious arranges his Hydralisk to counteract with his drop. Looks like he split his Hydralisk army to deal with both the Phoenixes and the War Prism, so that War Prism can't do anything.
Yeah, but you know, even though it's not doing damage, it's at least keeping the Zerg honest and making sure that he's staying back on the map. And this is allowing Protoss to assemble the army that he really wants to get. Now, granted, one thing that the Zerg does have going for him is that in cross spots, I mean, that's Zerg basically, and there are exceptions to this. Oh my God! Well, I'll get to that in a second. But you know, you'd think he would have lost more Phoenixes there, but but he didn't. So good for him. But you know, a general rule you could say is Zergs would almost always like to be cross spots from their opponent. It's just. You feel safer.
There's a larger distance between the bases. Also, you have that option of going down or left. In this case, for Curious, you're not forced to go a certain direction towards your opponent.
You can expand where it works for you.
And also, we see Lurker Den being built for Curious, so I think he wants to go for a long, long game where he can split the map, use the Lurkers to hold a defense, also use the architecture of the map so that Classic can't break into the base of Curious.
Now we've seen some flub plays here with okay, that was close. We've seen some plays that have been a little bit questionable with Protoss engaging Lurkers. The way that people need to handle Lurkers in this game is really not that different from the way they were handled in Brood War. In fact, the unit basically operates almost identically. You know, you can't just run into a bunch of Lurkers. You have to, ideally, if you get the angles over them, we may even see some of this down the road where people take warp prisms and drop on top of the groups of Lurkers to get the shots to fire inwardly while armies come in outwardly. But we've also seen some Zergs, even at the high-level plays, not quite have the right sense of how many Lurkers you can use to defend, and in some cases the army just gets run over. So Zergs are still mapping this out here. And we'll see where he decides to position those Lurkers. If he goes for offense over defense, it seems to me like Zerg is going to be moving out for an actual attack here.
So I think Curious wants to shut down this fourth base of Classic. You have to note how this map works. That fourth base is very open, very flat. You can basically do a concave over that base. If
oh my God! And that's the exact spot those Hydras were in last time, by the way. He probably noticed there was some movement on the map and assumed there would be anything
massive
there
engagement here. Roaches, Hydralis, and Lurkers. But it looks like Classic has to go back. Puts down Storm, puts down another Storm. A few Storms actually. Does a bit of damage, but looks like Classic is just jockeying for the best position, waiting for more units to come out as well.
So we have more eggs being made here. With the Lurkers out, I guess the only other time you see this with Zerg is occasionally like with Brood Lords, but you can start to push. You can start to edge forward here. Now you got to be careful because if they get good damage with the Scythe Storms and units that are too clumped up, that can kill this pretty easily. Especially, you know, if everything's just bunched together, which it's very easy to do with the way the Starcraft 2 AI works. Everything just clumps up so much.
I really love Classic getting that Oracle just for that revelation on those Lurkers. Saves him from getting his observers sniped. Also knows where that army is moving around the map of Curious. So that's a really nice touch that Classic has done so far.
Now, what we're seeing here from Zerg, this has been going on for a long time in StarCraft, and we're seeing it now in StarCraft 2. It's like a positional defense. Since the Lurker army can relocate very quickly, what you do is instead of having to choose to defend with your Lurkers either the top or the center right, you keep them in the middle, and it makes Protoss really have to be careful since you know, they're only going to be using oracles or observers to detect. They can't track that movement as easily, and so we see right here, what does he do? He gets them out of position. He's going to try to run in here and take out this base, and that's going to cause Protoss to turn around.
For sure, as this army of Classic has to turn around. These Lurkers are doing a lot of damage to these gateways, but it's not really the gateways you want to attack, it's the Nexus. You want to take out the Nexus because that base is still pretty saturated.
Well, you know, I'd say I think taking anything out here is going to be good. I mean, the fact that the majority of the gates are here means that Protoss's production, I think, got cut in half or more.
And you don't want to go through that choke point because like Lurkers attacking into that choke point, it's just basically 3 units for the Protoss. But nice Storms there from Classic. He's going to take out all these Lurkers. We'll see how much damage these Hydralisks actually do to this army, but I think overall that was a really good win for Curious.
Yeah, that was well, let's see here, actually. He did lose a lot of Lurkers, right? Those are the expensive units, whereas I guess you could say the price units here for Protoss would be the Immortals, right? And the Templars. The question would probably be how fast can he remake the Lurkers? And it looks like in this case he's actually switching tech, getting a Greater Spire. But I would think Protoss has the possibility of trying to do a counterattack. We see more Lurkers and Hydras being pumped out here. I think the gameplay right now for Curious is to keep Protoss on the defense. Don't let Protoss engage on the other side of the map. And we're going to see if Classic's going to sack another base and just try to do a counterattack. I think that might be his only play.
I think Classic needs to take out a base because he's lost his third base already. Looks like this Nexus here at the bottom right is going to go down those roaches if Classic doesn't deal with it. And those Lurkers are nicely placed behind those spine crawlers and Hydralisk there as well. Nice rock detachment there as well. Curious.
You know what's interesting about this is even though he lost all those Lurkers, with Classic losing enough gates, you notice he hasn't been able to max out again. Even though for a while back there he had the minerals, he's had to remake a bunch of stuff back at home. However, I don't know if Zerg's going to have a solid answer for the Protoss' army as it starts. These guys are both basically playing a game of whack-a-mole, running around just trying to cut off. Oh, nice. Gonna get some DTs out in time. We see one. I don't see any DTs anywhere else. So there's one DT out. That's not going to be enough to stop these roaches from doing so much damage.
Yeah, fourth base of Curious goes down to that big ball that Classic has. Fifth base is still up though, but I don't think there's any drones there. So Curious still stuck on around 2.5 because that main base is mined out. And nice revelation there from those Oracles, letting these Immortals pick off these roaches. Nearly loses that Warp Prism, but
I guess the question is, can he trap these, right? If he can get up here and start taking, nice. If he can get up here and start taking out more of these roaches, I think the next step after Classic deals with the rest of this, or at least as much as he can of it, probably to then do another attack over here, probably towards the center right. I believe, can you actually check on the preview PC, how many minerals are at this top center base for Zerg? Almost
mined out.
Mined out. Okay, so realistically, Zerg's just actually mining off of, well, not even mining off that center right base. There aren't any drones there.
Oh, nice revelation there as well.
Oh, I love this. Look at this. He can just get at this angle.
Yep.
Look, he can actually just get at this angle of here and possibly take out that hatch. Unfortunately, Classic's having the same problem that Curious has. I mean, these guys are both taking serious blows. This game, quite a slugfest.
So Classic actually has that 6 o'clock base up and running quite fine, and I'm not really sure why Curious is not main-arting drones to that 3 o'clock expansion. He should really get that up and running as we see Tempest being built. Tempest is a great counter to Lurkers. We'll see how Curious works from this position at 3 o'clock because he needs to secure that base.
Well, I think okay, so let's look at the distance of these two expansions, the bottom center and the right center, okay? Now, Protoss can defend this while still attacking into the Zerg, okay? It's no longer like there's one base on the upper left and another base on the bottom right, so this might force these two armies to actually engage each other head on. And I think if Protoss does this correctly, nicely done there.
Nice Vipers.
If he does this correctly, he might be able to shave off chunks of that army. However, Zerg much closer to maxing out here. Oh, especially with the Tempest here. He could actually use that as another siege weapon.
Yep. Yeah, I felt that Abduct would have been more useful on that Warp Prism maybe, but he gets some Immortals, and as long as Curious can secure this this middle right position, he can take back his 4th base and work around both that middle right and that ramp that goes towards his 4th.
I like the roaches up here, just trying to keep Protoss a little bit distracted here. Classic's been doing a lot with his army despite always having less supply, and he's also got this Unicom. I mean, the number of Immortals here, let me actually check over here on your PC GTR. We have 11 Immortals in this game, which is crazy. And Tempest coming forward, so this might force Zerg to try to dive in. No, because these guys both don't have a lot of mining bases. They have big armies, they have developed techs, they're not actually raking in cash. It's really going to be up to Zerg to have to try to defend this.
Yeah, nice abduct there. Taking out the Archon. I feel that if Curious feels like going for a Mutalisk switch, he could abduct his Tempest, abduct those Archons, and there wouldn't be anything that Classic can do about it.
I'm not sure if he can. I mean, see, look, Tempest can keep poking in, right? He can keep shaving off these Lurkers or Hydras, whatever, all right? You name it, he can do it. Zerg's going to have to keep backing up as Protoss begins to inch forward here. And if Zerg does dare to dive in, it's going to rain Psionic Storm on his entire army, and you can see he's already beginning to do that.
Like, the more time that Curious gives Classic here, those Tempests are going to keep chipping away at the army of Curious, and
Tempests are no joke, man. They do a lot of damage. So
I love this angle here from the Immortals, taking out those Lurkers, so really a good move there from Curious.
Okay, here he comes. He's going to move in here, and that's what the Storms are for. And he wants to wait until these Lurkers are all pretty much shaven off, and then he sends his Zealots in here with the rest of this.
Really nice Storms there from Classic, and the Tempest still doing damage on those Hydralisks. And
there it is, GG. That was a great game.
Yes, it was.
I am really pleased with what we saw back there. Both those guys taking a serious beating, but eventually it was just bottom center expansion to center right expansion. And although there were, yes, a lot of Lurkers, a lot of Hydras, a good number of Overseers in that army, Protoss had a sophisticated tech, a lot of Immortals, making Roaches, it's just not worth it to engage. A lot of Templars, making it tough for the Hydras to come in. Then what's that final piece? It's the Tempest. He gets the Tempest over there, and suddenly it's like Protoss has siege tanks in the air, okay? We're seeing like an old school RGS push, and because that bottom center expansion was the one Classic opted to not give up in that trading scenario, he's able to go back there and defend that. So there's really nothing that Zerg could do. Zerg on low enough money, there's no way to afford another base without giving up that base he was trying to defend there in the center right at the same time.
Classic playing that situation really smartly there. I really love the use of the Oracle and the Revelations give vision, using those the extra range of those Tempests to give those damage to the Lurkers, and nicely played there from Classic.
And that's also Classic teaching all of us how to think about Lurkers, how to approach them. You know, they do a lot of damage, but it doesn't mean you have to fight them head on. If they're going to tech into that, first of all, it's not cheap, so they're definitely going to have to keep those units alive. You have an opportunity then to tech into Tempest and try to do a push like that. And I believe we're going to be going to a short break. When we come back, we'll be going on to game number 3 here with the Afreeca Freaks against SK Telecom.